All right, let's get into audience questions for the week. Some interesting ones, starting with Eric. Eric says, hey, David, when people say no homo, does that go under the category of homophobic slur? So if you haven't heard this phrase before, when people say no homo, it's a sort of slang that you would say at the end of a sentence to make clear that whatever you said before was not said in a way to imply homosexuality, homoeroticism, attraction to other men. It's meant to sort of clarify that you are not to be thought of as making a gay double entendre of any kind, all right? So imagine that you said, it's a good-looking guy. This actor's a good-looking guy, no homo. So what you're saying is, I'm recognizing the attractiveness of another man, but I don't mean that in a gay way. That's a really nice looking shawl sweater. No homo. I think it's a good fashion statement, but I'm not saying I'm attracted to you. So the whole point of this is that it's part of displaying masculinity. And when young men use the phrase, it's basically saying, I need to reaffirm my gender and my sexuality, my sexual orientation, because I don't want it to be misinterpreted. And this sort of relates to the story we did earlier this week about Donald Trump and Jordan Peterson types appealing to those who are often insecure about their masculinity. We did a story about that earlier this week. I genuinely can't think of any situation I've been in where I compliment another man's haircut or their clothing or say that such and such is a handsome guy. I've never felt the need to clarify that I mean it merely in a non-homosexual way. Like, there were no reasons why I would feel the need to reaffirm my heterosexuality. So I wouldn't call it a slur per se. And there are actually some uses of this that you could argue are challenging the status quo, right? So you could say something that might, in popular culture, be thought of as romantic or sexual in some way. But by saying no homo, you might merely be pointing out, I'm able to say this, and it's not a romantic thing. It's not a sexual thing. So you might even be able to find isolated cases where it's sort of challenging the status quo. But in the end, it's about context and it's about intent. So I don't think that we benefit in any way from saying simply, no homo is a homophobic slur. It is often used to convince others of your masculinity by pointing out that you're not saying something that should be interpreted or misinterpreted in a homoerotic or gay way of any kind. But if we didn't have circumstances where people felt the need to reassert that constantly, it probably would be an irrelevant phrase. I don't use it. And again, I've never felt the need to assert my credentials as a heterosexual male because I don't feel as though, listen, lots of people think I'm gay based on the show that I do. I defend gay rights on the program. I just don't care, right? In the end, I don't even really care if people attribute homosexuality to me. It's sort of more their thing than mine. And it's never a phrase that I felt the need to use. In some cases, it is definitely homophobic, but I would not say that it is objectively a homophobic slur in all cases.